Hello YouTube, Essential here. I'm going to be doing a blood necro guide. I think I've had some success with what most people are saying is the worst class in the game, so cheers to that. We're going to get buffed soon. Currently I'm level 84. I depend almost 100% on overpower. In terms of durability, I feel like I'm pretty good, pretty tanky. The main things that you want on a blood necro, of course, is overpower damage. That's one of your biggest scalers. Crit is more or less ignored. I have some vulnerable damage, all damage, damage while healthy, damage while fortified. You get a lot from the Paragon tree with this build. Damage versus close, that's another one. I'll go down here. I have a fair bit of increased healing because the way Blood Surge works is it only heals you for 2.5% of your max health per cast, and then 5% if you have multiple enemies, like over 4. So really you're only getting 5% of your base life every time you use your main skill. So the only way to increase that so far that I know of is to increase your healing received, more or less. You can get it on a couple pieces of gear. I don't know how good it's going to be. If you can get up to like 100%, then that's still only 10% max health. We probably just need to make the healing work from this and focus on damage or something, really. If you look down here, essence cost reduction, very important. The more of these you get out, the more you heal, the quicker you get your 5 stack up to do the overpower. I have some cooldown reduction for Bone Storm, about 40 seconds there, 11 seconds on Bone Prison. Alright, so one of the most important things on this build is definitely the sacrifices, believe it or not. I'll show you here right now, 1647 overpower damage, right? If we take our sacrifices, I'll just put them over here for now. Okay, this goes down to less than half. Now the reason for that is because I have my necklace is invested in sacrifices, my tree is invested in sacrifices. I'm getting over 100% effectiveness. Since this is a multiplier, it's multiplying my overpower damage on my character sheet. So basically this has increased my overpower damage by like 100 or 1.1 times, basically like 110% of whatever I have, or maybe more with the sacrifice scale. I'm not really sure how it works, but basically this is your bread and butter right here. Without that, you're probably doing nothing. In skeletons, you got non-physical resistances, which only increases your actual resistances. I'll show you that too. Right here you see it's my resistances aren't too bad, but if I throw this here, they will plummet just a little bit. But you know, 18.7% damage reduced. Okay, take that. So that was fire. So now it's 2.7. So we got over 3% damage reduction there. It is what it is. Resistances suck. Maybe that'll be good one day. But apart from that, we don't use crit. We don't use shadow damage. Golem, you can do attack speed. It's probably your best bet, especially with sacrifice bonuses. You get pretty speedy. Maximum life is decent. Once again, no crit. We'll go over the Paragon tree. The big one is this guy here. Increase your overpower damage by a whole ton for willpower. Right now I'm using damage mitigation while fortified and damage to close, or damage reduction against close. But I'm going to be switching to CC, damage while CC'd, and then either physical damage increase multiplier or no active minions multiplier. Because blood is, I'll show you my chest here, blood is physical damage and blood damage. And I think it's a spell. It's kind of, I don't really know. But yeah, this chest here triple dips into basically what you need. And you'll see here on my tooltip we're at 8438. Take this guy off. Went down 1400 damage just from that chest piece, see? And that's because it has, you know, 18 fizz, 14. It's like 50% damage from one piece of gear. Necklaces, basically this is perfect. Coalescent Blood is your best ability, or best passive on the tree, I believe, which is while healthy, your blood skills are multiplied. And that's like base, and then it should also apply to your overpower, so that's why I'm using it over like the Tides of Blood. I think the Coalescent Blood is probably the best. Gloves, obviously you want your blood surge, you want attack speed probably, overpower damage you can get, a chance to resource is good. The main like essence generation right now is basically Reap. Reap is just the more enemies you hit, the more you get back. It really helps. And then also the Penitent Greaves with the for like the pretty much the main engine would be these two pieces. It's any time an enemy like comes into that little circular field under your feet, they get CC'd, you gain 2 resources. So if things are spawning on you, you suddenly get like 50 resources, things like that. It's probably the one thing that's keeping my build together. Ultimately, I want to switch out these two pieces and probably use the ring that reduces casting the same skill repeatedly, reduces the cost. And then also there's a ring that refunds 40% of the cost back to you if you hit over 5 enemies. So I feel like maybe if you combo those two, there's a world in which we can just blood surge like 50 times in a row, because it's refunding the cost and then it's also reducing the cost with the other one. I think there might be some messed up math there along with essence cost reductions to maybe where we can just right click, we won't have to do anything else anymore, which would be really cool, because this skill on its own is actually extremely strong. It's, you know, 36%, 90%. It starts pretty hard, and then that 90% gets up to 50% or 50.50x stronger. So that, like, base damage, you're looking at 135% from your Blood Nova. So like that modifier alone as a base is very high. But yeah, I will leave a build in the comments. Give you guys a quick rundown of my items. But yeah, the build I made, I put it on paper. It's all the Paragon tree, all the skills, and all the items that I think are being used right now. And base stats, let's get into a quick 34 and I will show you guys what this thing can do. My top end damage, like on there's a lot of conditions to be met to do damage in this game. Like sometimes it's the vulnerable, it's like their resistance types, whatever it is. Oh god, why am I so far back here? But I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, the top end damage on this, the highest I've hit is 384 times 3. The way overpower works, it overpowers every hit of the skill. So drawing their blood, the Nova, and then the Echo from this item is 3 hits total. So I can do, like in a perfect scenario, I can do like 384 times 3. So somewhere over like 1.2 million damage roughly, which isn't horrible, I don't think. I've seen a lot of classes outperform that a lot, like by a lot, but Druid I think is kind of in a bad way, to be honest, right now. There's not a lot of builds, like there's the Bone Spirit build that requires a lot of micro and setup, and it's kind of, I don't know, it would be kind of boring to play, I feel like. This guy might kill me. Yeah, this is more, it's kind of like just melee necro. You just want to go in, you want to reap them, you want to not get murdered by this bear. Yeah, 262, that's pretty good. And just spam right click, left click. And that's pretty much the build, honestly. It's probably a lot easier than having to set up your corpses and do all that stuff. Also, this build has no like real corpse engine. I don't have this stuff. There's no reason really to consume corpses. Corpse tendrils doesn't consume a corpse on its own. So there's no, like, except for unless you get the slot to reduce the blood mist cooldown and like absorb corpses. There's literally nothing. You can get maybe you can sacrifice one of the slots to get the Bone Storm eats 8 corpses, but then you're only getting like 50 essence back every time you press Bone Storm. It's not very good, I don't think. Where's this wildlife? Who just walks up into a nature reserve to like finish their dungeon, you know? Made a zoo out of this place. But yeah, I will link everything in the comments. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm gonna try to start streaming if I can get over my shyness, you know. But yeah, have a great day, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. See you soon. Sorry, I cut that off a little early before I put the boss in, so here's the boss. Boss is dead. Boss is dead. This is the tree here. There'll be a link to it in the comments. You can see damage, damage to crowd control targets, damage to healthy, damage to injured, damage while fortified, damage while healthy, healing received, overpower damage, resource generation, skill damage. Might just be from stats. But yeah, there's items, sacrifices, skills, and the full Paragon tree I just redid to include the damage increase nodes. So you can actually get 70 in this first tree. I didn't really notice that, but that's pretty OP.